put your smile on. Really wanna get to know you better. Loving every minute we're together. A king, a queen to be. If I pop the question on my knees, cause you feel like competition. Got a body divine with a vision. Wanna see you move, yeah. Hurry up before I lose, yeah. I'm addicted to your hot kiss. I can't take it no more. Put your hands in the air, we'll be alright.
That's right. Yeah.
You keep messing up my mind, but I love your style. Yeah, yeah. And I'm loving your lips like a candy bar.
That's right.
I ain't kidding, I just wanna have ya. Ain't kidding, I just gotta have ya.
Hey, find me in the bar, I ain't going outside. And it's cold last winter, gotta roll up and out. See it from afar, got my thoughts in the sky. Where we used to kiss, sunshine, shit and wild. You gotta call me every day, pretend you're my baby. I see more real out there lately, it's crazy. Yeah, we could be the same as we claim in this kingdom shit and keep it tame. Come on, baby girl, we're not the same. Two different speeds, but we keep it one lane. Yeah, what goes around comes around. Keep 100, y'all. Do this for my soul like a dawn, but still you on.
Put your hands in the air, we'll be alright. Oh, yeah. You keep messing up my mind, but I love your style. You know I'm loving your lips like a candy bar. I ain't kidding, I just wanna have ya. Ain't kidding, I just gotta have ya. Yeah, starting with a little small talk. People whistling from the sidewalk. I just wanna spend some time together, and this night will keep on getting better. Step into the club, I can feel the room is full of love. As you play the top division, we'll be running the night, it's a mission. Yeah, wanna see you move, yeah. Hurry up before I lose, yeah. Cause I'm addicted to your hot kiss, and I can't take it no more. Put your hands in the air, we'll be alright. You keep messing up my mind, but I love your style. And I'm loving your lips like a candy bar. I ain't kidding, I just wanna have ya. Ain't kidding, I just gotta have ya.
Yeah. Yeah, magic bands. Hey, today, making history.
Ain't messing around, girl. No, I want you. You know that I do. Yeah. Don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl. Don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl. losing sight. Let's go to war. Let's go to war! We arm ourselves with the wrongs we've done. Name them off one by one. Let's go to war. Let's go to war! Everything you say, everything you do, you push it in, and you cut me down.
Hello and welcome then, champions, to this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 37. My name is Hi-Rez Vox. Today I am joined to start things off with by, that's not right, that's unexceptional. I'm actually joined by, to start things off, Absurd. How you doing there, Absurd?
I'm actually doing fantastic, and I am excited to see some new faces on the board today.
We've certainly got quite a few of those to go through as well, and for those of you who are just joining us maybe for the first time, for those of you who are familiar with the Go4 Cup, we're going to talk about it once more again because it is time to get ready for Paladins Competitive, and we've got more news actually on some other cups coming a little bit later. But the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup is a monthly repeating circuit of open qualifier cups where you can earn cash prizes, crystal prizes, and Go4 points. And at the end of every single month, the top 8 teams via the Go4 point cumulative standings for that month are invited to a monthly finals with an increased cash prize. Now actually, on to cup number 37. That doesn't include monthly finals. We've had quite a lot of Go4 Cups, so there's been quite a lot of competition so far, but let's head straight on through to the bracket to start things off. And what have we got going on here? What teams are in the semi-finals and up this week, Absurd?
Well, we're starting off with the Handsome Jacks versus Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is not a familiar team that we've seen around just yet. And over to the other side, I'm sorry, I'm gonna totally butcher this, but Onskrad?
Onskrad is what I'm going with so far. It is French slang. Apparently it means in secret. My wonderful boss, the senior publishing producer in the European office, Alex Grandpont, has provided some insight onto that. And I am very apologetic because I know I'm going to butcher that during broadcast. And Royal League as well. But to start things off, let's have a look actually. Added some new features to the Go4 Cup broadcast this week. Let's go ahead and check out the team profile of Handsome Jacks. So this is a team where we know the players. They've turned up many times before. Actually, Pace there as well. Member of Team Cryptic, I think, might be filling in this week, but they've got Ninu Sassler as the captain, Surretz, who I now know as the financial manager, Stocks, Pace, and Jopi, or El Jopi. We'll have to ask for some clarification as to that on exact pronunciation. If anybody's able to offer some insight, that'd be great. But as far as this team goes, you know, Handsome Jacks, how's their path through the bracket seen before? You know it's best of ones up into the semi-finals. They've got 2 wins. Was there anybody they were facing earlier on, Absurd, that might have given them some difficulty?
It looks like throughout the brackets, AIM5 was a huge team, and we saw them last cup. They really were just going through a fight-off between each other, and now that they're out of this bracket and Handsome Jacks actually beat them earlier, they're going on to face, as we know, Ghostbusters this time.
So let's go and have a look at then Ghostbusters lineup. This is actually an interesting team as well. We've got Chiva as the team captain, Hat Cobra as well, both hailing from Spain there. Zelda, Blascu, and Seziblan join them. Another 2-0 win record, and looking at what they've done so far through the bracket, the surprising thing to me is Team Cosmic that they actually managed to take out in the quarterfinals. And if I'm not mistaken, so we saw Team Cosmic last week in the January finals, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and it's very, very surprising that Ghostbusters actually beat them out here. So now I'm wondering, this might be a new team that we have not yet seen before that's going to be upcoming and a huge powerhouse of a team. So I'm excited to see how this goes down.
Yeah, I really want to watch that potentially, and I'm excited also to see exactly how this best of 3 semi-final set kicks off. With that in mind, let's go ahead and look at the map draft coming up on your screen right about now to see where we're going, what's been taken away from the map drafting pool, and if there's maybe a favorite location for any of these teams. So talk me through map bans to begin with, please, Absurd.
Well, we're starting off with taking away Frog Owl. Everybody loves that map, but it's a very good map for Torvald, who is in meta at the moment. And over to the ban number 2, we have Splitstone Corey. That's taken off the charts. It seems like teams are kind of unfamiliar with the map, even if it's not relatively that new. It's still a very well verticality and diversified map. And then moving on to map number 1 is Stone Keep.
So the interesting thing as well, and you just mentioned that Torvald is very in meta, Torvald's had this really big boon recently of having the Thanks Grandpa legendary come in, which feels like it's really refreshed the way that Torvald is played. The interesting thing about that, actually, is a little tidbit that I picked up from the dev team, and I wanted to share with you and everybody else that might be watching on broadcast the first time. Same thing happens with Field Study, by the way. The effects of currently, and this is by design, the effects applied from protection. So with Field Study, that's your damage amplification. With Thanks Grandpa, that's your CC immunity. That actually persists even if the shield is broken for the full duration on application. So even if you break the shield, an individual will be CC immune for the full duration, which means that Torvald really empowers a lot of very interesting play right now. And I can't wait to see kind of what that might potentially do. But do you really think that Torvald is going to make it through the champion draft here?
No, I bet he's going to be banned away, as we've seen the bans from him pretty much every single game.
Yeah, Torvald rarely making it through, often banned away. Cassie and Makoa also in those top pick ban spots right now, and well, let's not speculate any longer. Let's head on straight through to the champion draft for this week, where Jacks take on Ghostbusters, and we've got our first pick ready. What will it be? Now, as we talked about, we've got Cassie, Makoa, Ash, Torvald, maybe even the Bomb King available as your first pick, first ban. Looks like Handsome Jacks, they want to take away Cassie to start off with.
I guess they want to get the damage out, and that forces Ghostbusters to either take off a Makoa or go into the Torvald, and it seems like they're already taking away the Makoa. Now Jax, they have that opportunity to pick up a good champion, such as Ash, such as Torvald, but it looks like they're going to go for the Ash.
Yeah, and from last week as well, we definitely saw Torvald doing a lot of work during the Go4 Cup January finals. You know, Ash. Ash with her Slugshot legendary was really swinging out the damage, and it's very easy to confirm over a very long distance. Maybe not so good at lower levels of play, but a high-level competitive play with players that are on point with their aim, it turns Ash into a damage monster. But talking about damage monsters, look at what Ghostbusters have picked up here.
Torvald and Bomb King. Now, if we're talking about Ash counters right here to damage, it's more and more shields. Torvald has it, and he's going to be throwing it out, especially onto a Bomb King. If he's CC immune during out these durations of these fights, it's going to be a very hard presence to deal with.
And so maybe to kind of deal with that a little bit more, Charlene and Maldamba picked up by Handsome Jackson. We know that Maldamba is kind of your top healer right now, with Genesis' overall throughput and burst heal potential being nerfed, moving in through OB64 and now in the current patch of OB65, so a good pickup there. I feel like the Charlene is maybe more of an attack on Torvald, as if you equip him with Wrecker, you'll deal with the bubble quite well. Is that in line with your thinking, or do you think the Charlene's more of a pocket strategy?
No, I think the Shaolin is definitely along the lines of breaking down those shields and getting the damage to come through, because he doesn't rely on all of the CC in his kit. He more relies on just straight damage from afar. So
Genos and Fernando then picked up for the side of Ghostbusters. They want to keep their lineup relatively neutral here. They want to allow themselves to get some damage, some frontline, some support, and leave their last pick spot open for some counterplay. Seen a lot of Canasta and Strix recently in the Go4 Cup, but not coming out today. It's Inara and Lian to close things out. And how do you feel about this Lian pick?
That's a little bit weird. I was expecting them not to go with two long-range damage dealers or snipers, however you want to look at it, because they do have a lot of point control with Inara and Ash. I thought they would go for a mix around of working with something like a Pip to really control down that objective, but I guess they're going to go with the Leon.
And then Ghostbusters pick up Buck, probably to get into the backline enabled by Torvald. This double threat of Bomb King and Buck, especially if they look to flank with a Torvald protection on them, will be very, very strong. But folks, once again, we've got 2 minutes on the clock. It's Handsome Jacks versus Ghostbusters, map number 1 of Stonekeep, coming up next in the first set of the ESL Go4 Cup semi-finals. Welcome back then, champions. It is map number 1, as we have said, between Handsome Jacks and Ghostbusters here. My name is Hi-Rez Vox. I'm joined by the Absurd Gamer here today. Let's go ahead and check out the legendaries to start things off, starting with Handsome Jacks. And looking at them, we've got Nina Sassel playing Mother's Grace Inara, Joppy on Slugshot Ash, Heist on Death and Taxes Leon, Stocks with Desert Shadow Charlene, and Surretts with Spirits Chosen Maldamba.
Over to the side of Ghostbusters, we have Hax Cobra onto the Scorch Fireball for Fernando Chiva on Celestial Touch, Bulk Up Buck, CZ taking things, Rampa, and Saldo with the Royal Subjects. Let's jump straight into the action.
See already, look at the positioning of this Fernando off on the high ground, allowing Bomb King to try and control space with their big aerial detonations or big AoE detonations of the sticky bombs here. Really liking the positioning so far, but Handsome Jacks might be able to take control here potentially as members of Ghostbusters are slightly isolated.
Ooh, Saldo's gonna get that first blood, and Hack Cobra going into the back line. This is where we really see the Fireball legendary come through as he hits it onto 2 people. Now, Sassla is going to be staggered out, and with that stagger, it is going to take him a long time to regroup onto this objective. They're going to have to wait for that Inara to be back up.
Yeah, I'm looking at the point score right now, and it's 66% captured by Ghostbusters so far, and you can see these frontline members of Ghostbusters moving into position. Hack Cobra throws up the shield, moves away, making sure the Ash is contested, and look at this, it's ticking up. Nina Sassler gets a kill, but nobody can touch the objective. Ghostbusters, they get the first cap of the game in what seemed like a free move there.
It really was, and even with Handsome Jacks able to turn this team fight around at the end, they got the objective, and that's what Ghostbusters really wanted out of this objective and capture point.
Now they've got to be careful. Ghostbusters are trying to push back on through. They've got the objective control, and Sazibland starting to enable Hack Cobra is trying to push out, but Nina Sassler finds 1 frag on a Zelda, and Inara and Ash are up in this enemy backline. Look at the positioning here, Absurd, and it's so effective. I think Chiva's going to die here.
Chiva's going down, but Buck's onto the back line, going for that aggressive push. Bomb King so close to going off the edge, and now it looks like Ghostbusters do have that aggressive stance once again. With 2 picks-offs, they're going to be engaging here.
You can see that Blastio is diving in very, very deep, looking for Nina Sassler. Stocks low in the backline, is evaporated there with a quick kill thanks to the shotgun. Haste takes down Blastio in response, but this has opened up the possibility for a payload push, but it's only just starting to move. The payload's got 1 minute and 24 seconds left in it. Do you think that Ghostbusters can really start to pick up momentum here and start swinging this through, or will Handsome Jacks hold them at their base for long enough to defend?
Well, with a Leon and a Shaolin, they have that sniper potential to really hold this objective down and pick into the tight corridors, but we're starting off with a seismic crash.
Oh no, and then comes in the King Bomb, but Nina Sassler's in Earthen Guard. That's Mother's Grace for CC immunity. Nina's getting out of there. Oh, doesn't actually connect there with the Enlightenment from Leon, so Haste is trying to find this angle, but Hack Cobra is staying alive, and you can see the healing is coming through rapidly from both teams, but Ghostbusters are moving in. Blastio dives on in, but Stocks shuts them down. That'll take the wind out of the sails of Ghostbusters, and Handsome Jacks, they hold for now.
Now, with this, they are going to look for an aggressive stance, but they need to not overcommit to this objective. They only have 2 ultimates, or they only have 3 ultimates online. 2 of them are down now. It depends on Ghostbusters. Do they want to commit here and go for the ultimate charge, or do they want to stick to it and try to push out this objective without it?
They've got 20 seconds left, and looking at the ultimates which Ghostbusters do have on their team, they're not exactly the biggest point fight ultimates, but hello, Ash using Assert Dominance, that'll buy a lot of time, sure, on the high ground, but maybe not the best utilization by Handsome Jacks right now as Ghostbusters start to drive on in. Hack Cobra moves into position, but I'm worried about this Charlene right now. Ghostbusters have got to be careful of potentially a flank coming through from this heavy hit around the corner.
He is a very good position, but Zelda reads him out and is able to take that Shaolin and burst him down. CC Bland going in. This is 2 kills for Ghostbusters. Now it really depends on if they want to commit to this team fight with ultimates.
Now the payload push is in overtime. Nina Sassler can contest, and this is important. Hyper Beam is on the table, but it doesn't matter as out comes Dread Serpent to start things off. Nino picks up 1, looking for another kill, but here comes Heat Haze. No, Stocks shuts them down. The Heat Haze Charlene with the damage gets the double kill, looking for the triple kill, finds onto Janus here, planted, does connect, 1 more shot will do it. Stocks finds the 3K,
Fernando.
will they find the 4th? No, Fernando lands the fireball home, but look at the respawn proximity. They're starting to come back on through. Zelda's here, the knockback is good, but somehow this Fernando is still alive. That's immortal. Here comes the King Bomb as well, and this might be enough. Nino goes down, and I don't know if Handsome Jacks can hold on.
It's going through, and it keeps on going, pushing. Zelda is going to get 1 kill, and Hayes is going to get a return onto Sissy Bland. Shiva going down with his own, and now it's just a battle between damages. Zelda's going to get a double. Nars just barely going to be able to hold on and touch this objective. Nina Sassler is the last one alive. That wall is not going to do her any good, as she's the next one to fall. Ash is going to touch it at the very last second, but get pushed off by the Bomb King.
That was beautiful. That's Zelda right there at the end. The Poppy Bomb for conversion. Couldn't find the knockback onto Nina Sassler's resilience too, as you can see on screen, was enough to reduce that knockback impulse. But none of that on Ash. Out of the way, Ghostbusters get the 2-0 so far, and a whip to celebrate from Zelda. That's well deserved. So absurd. 15 seconds left until the next round. Let's look at items. What are you seeing on screen?
Ghostbusters have a very good itemizations with Blast Q and Zelda both having that cauterized 3, so there's going to be 90% mitigated healing for threats. That is a huge issue, as Handsome Jacks are already down in 0-2 at the moment.
Looking at the healing charts, Threats is still leading that a little bit for the side of Handsome Jacks. We'll have to see if they can come back into it. And Nara starts things off with a seismic crash, lands a stun to Hat Cobra, slow goes down. There's the impasse as well, but Nina Sassler's getting melted and has to back up to be healed there by Threats, with the healing throughput being pretty good from Aldamba, but still Blastq has found one, and maybe this Buck is looking for a flank, and looking at their positioning right at the back, looks to find Stocks, and Sazibland shuts them down.
Ooh, with only one ultimate online, it's going to pop through. That is through time and space, but it's not connecting onto any backline member. Each team is dropping solo, but Blastq's here to clean everything up. Now it's just Joppy caught on the objective. Tries to pop that assert dominance, but she falls before it even hits the ground.
And Blastq right now on a Buck, playing into Shaolin on a map like Serpent Beach, which is one of the best maps for Shaolin to be able to counterplay due to the fact that the walls are all around, is now 10, 4, and 12, picking up more and more kills. Here comes the recovery through massive heal. There's the field study bubble as well. No, excuse me, the thanks grandpa bubble. And only just can Ash contest the objective, but it's 96% to Ghostbusters already. And Handsome Jacks are trying to get back there. Surely Bomb King will get the detonation. That'll be enough for the kill. Shaolin enters Heat Haze. Will they be able to contest? Overtime is ticking, but nobody can get there, and that's Ghostbusters with the second capture in a row.
Wow, this has been a real steam through for Ghostbusters. I'm surprised that they've been doing so well, and Shaolin is caught out of position. What really it comes down to is Handsome Jacks, they're not communicating together with the team, and the group is just going to have issues, especially with 2 snipers when it comes down to the objective, and there goes Joppy flying off the map.
And it's just really good target prioritization as well. It's Handsome Jacks, their focus is drawn towards these big heavy frontliners. A Fernando up in their face, you go, well, you got to melt the shield if you're playing Shaolin, but then you're not paying attention to Blastq, who, might I add, is on a 17 streak right now. Let's look at the damage charts, and wow, that is nasty. Buck sitting in second with 65,000 there, just getting out of dodge for the time being, only being exceeded by Zelda's Bomb King currently, and Zelda's on a 16 streak of their own.
Wow, these 2 damaged characters are both doing work, and we see that as Blastq's jumping in once again, using that Buck Wild, and this is going to start team fight off.
See Heat Haze pop now by Stocks as Shaolin is going to move in, try to contest. Got to watch out for that Hyper Beam from Torvald, which isn't available right now as Torvald's not in a prime position to use it, but Stocks misses a couple of shots. Torvald stays alive. One long-range distance shot onto Hat Cobra will buy some time, and Stocks is just trying to stop this Torvald from moving into Hyper Beam position, but they're all surviving, in Ghostbusters can retreat and then start healing up as a result. So whilst Handsome Jacks hold, the kills that they didn't achieve might come back to haunt them, I think.
I think so as well, and with that, Handsome Jacks are able to hold on with just a little bit of a pinch. Now, as we're looking through the charts, we actually see a lot of healing coming out for Mr. Maldamba himself. He's getting that healing to come through all of the damage that's being outputted by Ghostbusters. He is trying to get every single little last breath of healing, and it's going to really add up into the end game.
Gotta be careful here now. 30 seconds left. Ash tries to assert dominance. Handsome Jacks are down a member though. All of a sudden, this could be very, very dangerous. Here comes Hyper Beam from Torvald. That'll buy a lot of space. Straight into the backline is Hat Cobra trying to force this Lian out. Enlightenment fires, but Haze is blocked by the shield, and Ghostbusters, they just push that one straight on through. No real difficulty there, thanks to the ultimates making space, and that was a really good performance right there at the end, coming through from Ghostbusters.
Wow, I am actually surprised. I thought this would be a battle of the ages. This would be down to the 3-3 mark point, but with this Ghostbuster, they just roll through with the damage. I feel like their composition was so much better, utilizing the Torvald into a Buck and Zelda pickoff. I mean, that was just so well worked around, and Chivy able to always put out that healing through around corners and get that mark down onto anybody who all needs it.
Yeah, I'm really surprised actually to see the healing throughput from Janos keeping up relatively well with Soretz's Maldamba there. And looking at Soretz's scoreline, 0-7-7, whilst you're not expecting many kills on the side of support, that's uncharacteristically low is what I'd say for that. Looking at the rest of the members, towards Handsome Jax, that's a lot of deaths on Joppy's Ashe right there, and we saw a couple of times maybe assert dominance, not using the best of positions, maybe even so far as to say wasted at times, and they were getting caught out a lot. Moving into map number 2, is there anything you'd like to see this player adjust to maybe help their team out a little bit more and not be that negative figure in terms of deaths?
I think if we're going with the Ashe pickup again for Joppy, that is where she wants to find her mark. She has the potential to go onto the backline like Zelda, like Shiva, and she needs to work around with some other character, whether it's Haze or Stocks, and really collapse onto one player and one member, and that's where she will find the damage, and not only that, but also find the pickoffs, resulting in her getting less deaths.
Now, one last stat before we do move back on through to the map draft that I do just want to point out as well is I'm looking at their shielding stats right now, and Joppy is playing the Ashe. You're not expecting him to have a great deal of shielding, and well, Inara, that's self-shielding towards deployables, so you can count that out, but that is 84,000 damage shielded onto themselves and allies by Sazi Bland's Torvald, only dying twice. And looking at the team, actually, the amount of deaths are remarkably low across the board. Absurd. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think that Torvald was the answer and the secret on this map for the side of Ghostbusters. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map draft for map number 2, though. Turn up on your screens right about now and see where these players will be going. We've already seen Ghostbusters take the 4-0 on Stonekeep, and map number 2, well, it's Jaguar Falls. What do you think about this?
It's a very unvertical map, and with the horizontal map, I'm expecting to see some gameplay between maybe some flanks such as Talus or another mark to come through, and we might see Drogo's pick off. It really depends on what the team composition comes down to and how they really want to play out this map and objective.
It's a real staple map as well, I feel. It's one of those ones that's tried and tested and true, and teams have got a lot of different options on here, and it really comes down to how you're feeling. Kicking it off into the champion draft, then let's go ahead and take a look and see exactly how it'll break down. Handsome Jax, they do retain first picks here, so they've got the opportunity to maybe go with a Cassie ban again, go with a Makoa ban again. Looks like they're going to remove the Torvald, though. They just don't want to deal with that, and as we said, it might have actually been the answer.
It might have just been the whole key point that Jax needed, because that Torvald was very deadly. Now, the Ghosts take off Makoa. That's only really leaving Ashe for the objective, and Jax picked it up straight away.
I'm a little surprised to see them go with the Ashe quite so early, and Bomb King and Fernando locked in. Now, I know this is a shorter map, and Just Breathe for Cassie isn't quite as effective here, but she hasn't gone. This pick, which we've been told will never see the light of competitive play, hasn't been picked up in the first 3 picks so far of this map number 2, and there we go. Cassie locked in for Handsome Jax as their second pick overall. Maldamba to close out there. Handsome Jax are getting a lot of damage online so far. How do you think that, the side of Ghostbusters is going to respond?
They're going to have to respond with something that's going to be utilizing range and damage on top of that Cassie. Maybe a sniper like Kanessa, because they have that Bomb King for control over the objective already. Now with that, they're actually going to pick through an Inara and Genos.
So I like the neutral approach to this personally. I think that they're following the same strategy as they did in the draft of map number 1, which is leave their last pick open for some more counterplay. And in map 1, they picked up Buck, which might actually still be a good angle on this map. But let's see what the side of Handsome Jax draft into. Ruckus picked up there, as well as, a Grok to finish. Now, I really like this Grok specifically versus the Inara matchup here, because whilst Fernando doesn't have their shield up, you can bounce off of all these targets very easily, and there's not much which can block Shock Pulse, so a lot of damage potential can come through from Handsome Jax right now. The other side of things, Ghostbusters, they'll round out their lineup with, well, what are their options? You mentioned the sniper. But actually, pick up the Leon here.
All right, I guess they're going for the Leon. As I said, not my most favorable pick into the meta, even with Death and Taxes being a great legendary, putting out 70% cauterize for the start of the game. It still is a hard pick for any sort of team to get and replace with any other character. I felt like something, maybe a Shaolin or even Kinessa would have been better in this situation, because it would have allowed for the team to either go with that sniper or go exactly with how they want to engage and that full composition to go through.
Yeah, you normally do end up seeing the Shaolin on this map because your Impaler arrow spots, but, well, Leon is the trick up the sleeve of Ghostbusters. They made it work in map number 1. Once again, we've got 2 minutes on the clock, and we'll see if they can pull back the repeat in map number 2 to put themselves straight through to the finals, or if Handsome Jacks will fight back. Welcome back then, champions. It's map number 2, Handsome Jacks versus Ghostbusters, with Ghostbusters already being 1-up after a 4-0 game on Stone Keep. We're here to see if Handsome Jacks can turn it around on Jaguar Falls. Of course, as always, my name is Hi-Res Vox. I'm joined once again by the Absurd Gamer here for map number 2. And Absurd, let's look at the legendaries. Anything different here? I'm looking at stocks initially, swapping to the Flux Generator on Ruckus. Anything on the other side of Ghostbusters which you're interested in?
Well, we do have Blaskew onto the Precision Leon and just Royal Subjects for Zelda. All of the more usual legendaries that we know, but starting off the team fight, we see Ashe onto the right side. Looks like she's going to be caught out of position all the way into this back line.
That's Joppy down again, and that's been a bit of a storyline for Handsome Jacks so far. They've got to find a way to protect their Ashe and keep her safe here, but now Handsome Jacks are moving in. Cassie's doing a lot of damage. Haste is bringing this Inara down very, very low, and while Sezibland fights back, Sezibland gets dragged out by Surette. Haste isn't seen by Blaskew. Dodge roll goes through the shot. Oh, the blast shot connects, and Haste cleans that up. This is a good look for Handsome Jacks, as now Ashe is back in the fight. Might even be able to take out Zelda here, and indeed they do.
Axe Cobra is going down, but in return, Haste is going to fall for it. Joppy getting back onto this objective, and now this is where we need to see the Ashe shine through. She has that presence to go up, and it looks like nobody's on the objective right now. They are not getting any sort of point control. That might have been a miscommunication between the team.
Yeah, that's maybe 15% of the objective capture lost, and as you can see, Fernando's back here. Hat Cobra's buying time for Ghostbusters moving in. Very low is Zelda around the outside of the map so far, but Handsome Jacks, they've lost their Ash. Double kill for Haze, though. Looking for the triple here. Scout has been activated. They can see their enemies through walls. Don't have the ability to poke out that player, but Nina Sassler will find the kill there with Grok. The Lightning Orc bringing the kill around the corner. That's the capture going to Handsome Jacks. As 2 frontliners down, Ghostbusters just can't contest.
Shiva is caught out, and so is Blasque, and that's just going to be a staggered delay now for the side of Ghostbusters. They really need to get and group up on this objective. The chokehold is going to be a big point for them, using the Inara and using the Bomb King. It just depends on whether they can connect to the objective in time or not.
Might be difficult as here comes Grok. Ride the lightning, they say. Joppy takes down Zelda, and Haze finds the second frag on a Hat Cobra. Stocks as well, picks up Blasque. 5 in a row for Haze here. Looking at their KDA, 7, 1, and 4. This is not good for Ghostbusters. This is Cassie, again, back to the damage charts, is tearing through all of their defenses.
Wow, she really is, and this is where Just Breathe is such an essential legendary for poking out through Cassie, and she still has a pretty well versatile mobility and cooldown reduction for that. But as we're starting off this team fight, it's going to start in with Ash asserting the dominance.
Oh no, but the Poppy Bomb from Zelda actually takes him out of the area. Ace is still chipping away, but here comes King Bomb. Zelda's moving in, trying to contest, but no, everybody dies before they get close enough to contest, and that's the round ending there with Handsome Jacks taking a 2-0 absurd.
Both of the tanks were just caught in the front line, and they had to deal with Joppy, who is on to the back line, doing what she actually was supposed to do, and I feel like it worked out very well for the team fight. Even with that assert dominance down now, we have 3 ultimates still online for Handsome Jacks, and they have the itemization over Ghostbusters.
So with that in mind, looking at the items, what are the advantages that they've got right now? Is it just tier 1, or are we starting to see some utility get in there as well?
We see a lot of tier 2s for all of the red items or the damage coming through, but Haze is picking up the Haven. Ninu and Surette both have that cooldown reduction for Kronos, but Surette already has Kronos too.
That's really going to be benefiting your Maldama there, just to get the healing coming online. Ace activates Scouts, finds everybody. Sassybland takes a lot of poke, but that's a Mother's Grace Inara. They'll heal that up just fine. On the other side of things, Hat Cobra is getting poked out as people are trying to push on through. Oh no, there's Dread Serpent from Surette in response. Inara with the seismic crash, but everybody's getting brought low. Joppy picks up a double kill here on the Ash. Oh no, Enlightenment juked out as well by this Cassie. Blasque can't find the kill. Haste gets a heal coming through from Surette as well. Blasque's going back towards the objective, but they're stuck 1v3 and Joppy shuts them down. Ghostbusters got 66% on the objective, but now it's all about Handsome Jacks.
I give them the fact that they got 66% on the objective, and they were able to hold it off for fairly long. Now, it depends on whether their team can regroup and utilize these ultimates like Immortal right here to try to catch out a certain target or get some sort of pick to engage this team fight.
Well, you know, I was looking at Inara, who was maybe trying to contest around the outside of the objective. Inara's going to get there in. No, not enough time. Doesn't even touch the objective as Haste burns them down completely. Stocks takes out Hat Cobra, and Inara could have quickly got in and just poked that objective into overtime by flanking around the back, but ended up giving it up, going directly in with the rest of their team. I'm confused about that decision, Absurd. Can you offer me any insight there?
To be honest,
no is an acceptable answer, I think.
Okay, because the decision-making between Ghostbusters, it seems a little staggered out throughout the whole entire communication of the team. We saw them work very well last time with the Torvald and with the Bomb King and Buck, but now that they're not running that Torvald, it's really going to start off this team fight with assert dominance.
And that's going to be a dangerous situation for Ghostbusters as Handsome Jacks are posturing far forwards. Look at the shield. Hat Cobra can't withstand it. Stocks sends them back to base, and with 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock, this payload could be pushing through straight away here. Here we go. King Bomb coming through, this time a little bit earlier. Cassie activates Scout to try and get some counterplay, and Zelda detonates way out of range of everybody else. Shut down by Cassie from long range to start things off. One more shot will do it onto Blasque, who is receiving some healing, but down goes Sassybland. Hat Cobra, the last one standing. The ultimates aren't here to be able to make this into a contest, and at least we do have some contest coming through right at the end. Blasque able to get the triple kill on defense from Lian, but Stocks is still here. Will the respawns be enough?
Looks like Zelda's up in time, and Joppy is the only one to sit onto this payload. Now, what was really essential there is that the tanks were picked off for Handsome Jacks, and they had the full composition to move forward. They utilized it fairly well. It's just that tiny little point that they really needed to stick onto that objective and make sure nobody else was touching.
Problem is, 45 seconds left. They're already starting to re-engage, and Handsome Jacks are ready here with all guns blazing. Stocks pulls out the big guns, gets one kill onto Zelda. Immortal is available, which is being used right there, but it's a double kill to Stocks. Haste shuts down Sazzy as Immortal expires, and, well, absurd. That is all she wrote. The emote comes out for Handsome Jacks at the end, and they claim victory in map number 2, tying the setup 1-1, might I add.
The ace at the end was very essential to push that cart down, and now that we're all tied up, this is really strange in my opinion, because it is a 4-0 into a 4-0 onto the other side of the team. So both teams are showing that they have that power and they have the essential burst and communication to put through. But now that we're going into each game, it comes down to the team composition.
And that matters so much, as before in map number 1, Torvald was the enabler. Map number 2, you can't shut down Cassie because of the amount of peel that she has from Ashe, the pocket healing from Nino Sassler's Grok as well, and just the sheer amount of damage which Just Breathe does is not actually the highest in-game, might I add. That actually goes to the side of Blasque's Lian, but significantly more versus, I think, a team which didn't have the sustain to heal it up. And that's the big story for me. The healing numbers disparity here. Talk to me about what we're seeing between these two teams.
Well, Shiva, it seems like even with a Mother's Grace Inara who's going to get that 50% more healing, just could not hold on to one healer at a time, especially with Genos, who can only put out essentially 1.5 marks at a player at a time until he gets Chronos. So we're seeing 2 healers of a Maldamba and a Grog who are going to both run through the early game as long as Cauterize is not online, with Blasque not taking up death and taxes, then we are going to see a lot of problems for the healers.
With that in mind, moving into map number 3 coming up in your screens right about now, we've seen the 4-0-4-0 return here, all tied up. Serpent Beach is the location where we will see these two teams make a stand, but a lot of options here and a lot of questions, like you can't let the Torvald through if you're Handsome Jacks, but at the same point in time, what does the side of Ghostbusters think is more valuable, the Makoa or the Cassie? Which one do you want to let through, and can you get pick priority? Any thoughts or insight there, Absurd, from yourself, from what we've seen so far between these two teams?
Well, I've seen Hayes work very well, especially last game onto that Cassie, but letting the Torvald come through, I think, is the wrong decision. The Makoa ban away as well is going to be also very essential, and it comes down to how they want to swing into the damage favors and play their cards, because you can counter the Cassie. You just need a pickup such as Talus, who works very well versus the mobility and damage at long range of Cassie.
And I've just seen as well in Twitch chat right now, shout out to Ryan, Cryptic once again not being broadcast this week because they're not playing, Ryan. Thank you very much. But also remarking that Ashe actually does a good job at countering out Cassie due to the fact that Slugshot gives the increased range and projectile speed to Ashe's burst cannon. And last game actually, Ashe and Cassie both went to the same side of Handsome Jacks, and we saw how strong that was. This time around, we'll have to see if something maybe a little bit different does come through as we're ready for the champion draft of map number 3 coming up here on Serpent Beach. And hey, look at that. Ghostbusters actually have first pick absurd, so how do you feel they're going to lead into this?
Well, if they're going to start off with a first ban, I think they might just take away either the Makoa or the Cassie, but it looks like they're going for the Torvald. Don't even want themselves to have it.
I guess that's because if Makoa's banned out by if Makoa's banned out by the side of Handsome Jacks, as it is right there, you're left with the option of, do we take Cassie, do we take Torvald, do we take Ashe? You've got a lot of different options up, and they want to secure themselves something strong. And let's see, it is actually the Cassie that comes in through first pick for the side of Ghostbusters.
I was surprised with that. I felt like their Ashe gameplay was a very well played to the first. Oh no, excuse me. That wasn't even Ghostbusters. That was Jax. So the Ashe gameplay is very essential here, and now they're going to pick it up with the Bomb King.
And they're going to get some good strong blast damage online. Responding then, Ghostbusters, go ahead. They're going to pick up the Inara, so they're getting some point control, and typically we see this paired through a support, and going from the sort of healing number disparity, I'd expect the Maldamba. Ghostbusters, they really want this Fernando. They've picked this 3 games in a row right now, seem to be depending heavily on it, and I'm not sure that's going to be the best decision here, as will letting Maldamba for free go to the side of Handsome Jacks be something which they come to regret?
I guess they're optimizing for the shielding from Fernando and Inara, but as you said, if they don't pick up that Maldamba, and we're going to see it for Handsome Jacks, they're just going to counter it out. The Maldamba is going to come through, and now Ghostbusters seem like they're just down a very essential pick.
And they're forced into the Janus again. Now, this doesn't work out too badly with the Cassie because you got that healing onto a mobile target through walls, and that last pick comes through.
Yeah.
Looks like a Charlene as well, so you've got a lot of split healing, but you've not got great focus. And again, I feel like Maldamba just could have done that so much better. You got your Gord on the objective for Inara, or up on the high ground on 7 Beach, healing up a group of people, and you can pocket heal an individual with your high throughput healing. Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's see what the final pick coming through for Handsome Jacks will be, and okay. Didn't expect the Ruckus, being completely honest with you here.
Well, Aerial Assault was nerfed a few patches ago, but I guess Ruckus still has the verticality onto this map if he wants to take Aerial Assault.
And I think that's
it
probably
just comes down to how he
That's the
plays.
likely thing, right? I feel like this is a target towards Inara specifically, because Ruckus can do a lot of damage to immobile targets, and Inara certainly is one of them, but as always, Absurd, we'll have to wait and see exactly what goes down in-game to figure out how these two teams will go head-to-head. So join us after the 2-minute break for map number 3 of this series to see if Ghostbusters can pull themselves back and go through to the finals, or if Handsome Jacks will take the reverse sweep. It's Ghostbusters versus Handsome Jacks for map number 3 as we hear Fernando cackling in the background. My name is Hi-Res Vox, joined by the Absurd Gamer to close out this set. And best of 3 reduced to just 1 game, Absurd. How you feeling about this, and what are you noticing in terms of legendaries this time around?
Both teams are doing so well, and as we're moving over, we see the Just Breathe, Desert Shadow, the Scorch, the more typical side for Ghostbusters. For the side of Handsome Jacks, what do you find unusual?
Well, it is an Efflorescence Grover, actually, which has been swapped to by Nino, and that was kind of the storyline for the last week in the January finals that we found, and Nino's still swinging for 600 from mid-range, even without Ferocity here, but that Efflorescence healing area is so big, but Sazzyplan goes down. It's 2 kills for the tree already. Everything's looking like it's game Grover for Ghostbusters, and Handsome Jacks take full control of this objective already.
Ninu doesn't even need ferocity as his axes are just ferocious on their own. Now to the side of Hack Cobra, he is going to try to take the left wing position, but it really comes down to how are Ghostbusters going to initiate and engage onto this team fight. We saw that be an issue last game with their tank competition.
It's tough, and they've got to find a way back in, but the problem is, look at the high ground. Ruckus is buying time versus Inara. It's 99% for Handsome Jax, no contest. And this is the difficulty of Inara, I feel like absurd. You've got so much to sustain on the objective as long as you've got a high throughput support, but if you get displaced, how are you getting back there with no mobility?
I find that Inara works so well with a flank because there's always someone aggressing onto that backline, so Inara can always sit onto that objective, but without this flank composition and 2 snipers, once again, however you want to put it down, it's going to be very difficult for Inara to sit onto that side.
You can see Seziblan has to lock themselves off inside this little room down there, just trying to stay alive. Getting cloaked out. We do have Charlene activating Heat Haste to try and move their way in. Very, very close, should be within reveal range. Can't find the shot on towards the Maldamba, and out comes the Grover Whirlwind to keep everybody alive. Potentially in trouble as Hack Cobra. Zelda gets shut down by Stocks, and that ultimate from Ghostbusters to try and take away some of the pressure didn't go as planned.
And with this blast fuse into the backline, we did see assert dominance popped out by Ash. They're just sticking onto that back, and Joppy trying to get some damage to come through. Now the objective is pushing very far, 80% already with a minute 15 seconds remaining.
And you know, speaking of sticking as well, Absurd Haste with the Bomb King is not actually having to land any sticks right now. Not running the chain reaction is, to my understanding, that's actually got a bit bug with it, which prevents it from being really played and competitive. It's a use at your own risk kind of thing, but these big AoE detonations coming through from the Bomb King in midair are so devastating, but still. Respawns from Ghostbusters come back through. 53 seconds left on the clock, and Ghostbusters do hold on, but what have they got in the tank in terms of ultimates to try and keep this payload from rolling through if it really comes to it?
Well, as we're looking over to the ult side, we do have Inara's Seismic Crash and Fernando with the Immortals, so they're going to stick and stay alive during this fight. It just depends on how they're going to lay down that damage, as that's been a pretty hard objective for them and a hard capture point.
Cassie has been doing a lot of damage so far. Blasky should be able to find the shutdown potential to Ruckus here, but in comes Grover, Nino Sassler. Can they get the shutdown? They do. 1 kill already goes the way of the Handsome Jax. Damage comes towards Chiva. Ghostbusters use the Immortal to try and hold on, but there's no healing throughput, and Joppy shuts them down. Haste finds Chiva as well. Haste finds a double kill on the Bomb King, and with all the ultimates ready, heading straight into the enemy backline, Ghostbusters, they've got no way to contest it. That's the objective conversion going through. 2-0 already, the Handsome Jax.
This is the problem that we were talking about. They don't have the heals to follow up with Immortal, and they don't have any shielding to come after it as well. All they can really do is put up the Inara wall to try to stick and stay, but with that, they're just going to falter and fall very short.
With that in mind, looking towards... Let's look at the healing charts again, because that was the risk right now, I think, between these two teams. And even though Maldamba has a lower throughput than Janus right now, which I think is mainly due to the fact that Inara is getting a lot of healing very early on, look at the combination. Look at what Grover's doing. 22,000 already.
Efflorensis is a very good legendary card, especially with the passive healing and Blossom both being increased. So just sticking around these damage characters, it's really going to help poke out the Ash. And now we're starting things off with Seismic Crash.
Followed up by a Hexafire coming through from Handsome Jax, trying to hold on. Stocks is getting poked out pretty significantly, but Wakono's Chosen throws out the Dread Serpent, and now the damage starts coming through. Ash asserts dominance. Nina Sassler throws out Whirlwind as well, and this place is blooming as Ghostbusters. They lose 1. Stocks finding the kill into Sazibland, and oh no, it's 46% for Ghostbusters, but once again, they've lost their Inara, and I don't think she's going to make it back.
I don't think so either, and with this, they might be staggered about. They don't see Hax, Cobra, and Zelda. Now they do. Stocks turns around, able to get that double kill coming through. And now Handsome Jax have that control over the objective once again, with only Inara sticking alive. She's not even going to be able to contest.
It's 90%, 93, 96, 99. You know the drill, folks. It's Handsome Jax, 3-0 already in just under 6 minutes, moving into this map number 3. And once again, Handsome Jax are posturing to try and poke out their enemies and buy some space for conversion. We're following a lot of Nina Sassler right now. Let's take a look at the damage charts again. And Nino without Ferocity has started to fall to the bottom side of those. Cassie from Ghostbusters Blast is actually leading the charts right now, but that damage doesn't seem to be really enough to force back Handsome Jack's Absurd.
It's not adding up all at the same time, and Handsome Jacks, with that, they also have the pressure to come through of 2 healers at the same time. As long as Cauterize is not online for the side of Ghostbusters, then they're not going to mitigate any of this healing.
That's very, very dangerous right now. Looking back at the healing charts again, it's almost over 100,000. Up to the high ground though, Blast Q is going. Grover throws out well, and Cassie doing enough to force an ultimate out of Handsome Jacks is good, and Zelda finds 1 kill. At Cobra picks up Haste as well. Chiva in the backline just contesting. Ultimates coming up online for Ghostbusters as well. They've almost got the Immortal ready if they need to try and keep their team alive, but no! Nino throws a long-range axe on the Chiva. Hat Cobra surely to go down here as well if Charlene doesn't find the Impaler arrow. And Zelda was 76%. Almost keeps the dream alive before the slam dunk from Joby comes through. Double kill for Ash.
I'm actually wondering, does the Surf Dominance do damage?
It does, and it does not a great deal of damage, but enough to be the kind of come on and slam moment to finish a kill. But hold that thought, Handsome Jacks, they get the conversion rolling through. There's no coming back from that Absurd. Everybody was so staggered. The kills were crucial there right at the end, and Handsome Jacks with 2 4-0s in a row after their swept performance, swept aside on Stone Keep, they go into the finals looking very strong.
This is a team that I always had commitment to and always thought that they did so well. But Handsome Jacks, or excuse me, not Handsome, Ghostbusters, they had such a great turnaround in game number 1. It seemed like they were working so well with their composition. And then what I think is really where they fell short was into that champion draft.
That was something which I've got to agree with you there. You know, going back to what Ryan was mentioning in chat a little bit earlier, what we talked about is the fact that, hey, the Ashe is really good counterplay for Cassie, and this time around, look at exactly what happened. And, you know, Joppy was able to do a lot of damage here, had the pocket healing from Maldama, the pocket healing from Nina Sassler as well, and was able to outpoke this Cassie in a lot of situations. And biggest thing for me, though, once again, the support prioritization just wasn't there for Ghostbusters. As soon as they lost that Torvald, it all seemed to start to fall apart. Absurd. Is it the same old story? Was it the supports feed this game, or was there something else going on?
I think it really came down to the supports and the big composition of how each team picked out. And even with Nino going for the Grover pick, I thought it was a little bit of a strange pickup, but now that we're seeing it come out and play, especially with Efflorensis, it was very well worked around into the team composition, and Ghostbusters couldn't do anything to deny this healing.
And it's been so wonderful to see these kind of split viabilities come through with new legendaries brought in OB64 and exactly what they're able to do. We're seeing a lot of those picked up, and but some champions still sticking with the old, the tried, the true, and the tested. And, you know, Surrett's especially, you know, Spirit's chosen Maldamba. It's just, this is good healing throughput. You've got the Ruckus with the aerial assault because it's map dependent like that. I'm loving the variety that we're seeing in Paladins right now, but folks, that does bring us to the end of set number 1. Heading back on through to our brackets for a bit of a recap here. Handsome Jacks took the 2-0 over Ghostbusters to advance through the finals. Next up is Ensued versus Royal League, and I do apologize once again if I'm butchering the pronunciation. I am doing my best here, folks, and once again, we'll see you back again after the break for the second set. In the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy the music, and have a look at this video to see how you can get involved with the Paladins console series if you're interested in some joystick action and some controller play coming up very, very shortly.
What's up, guys? We're coming up fast on another phase of the exciting Paladins console series, so we thought it was about time we give you a full rundown of what to expect from the PCS in 2018. This $250,000 tournament series is open to all Paladins console players from North America and Europe. Just grab 4 friends and your controller and you could win big. On February 2nd, we'll kick off the first of many monthly tournaments where aspiring console teams both on Xbox and PS4 can battle it out for crystal rewards and a chance at qualifying for events with cash prizing. Each phase of the PCS will last 4 weeks. In the first 3 weeks, teams will play a best-of-3 matchup in a single elimination bracket. The top 8 teams from those 3 weekly tournaments will then qualify for the monthly finals in week number 4, where they'll play another single elimination bracket with a bigger prize pool up for grabs. The Paladins console series is powered by Mixer, so all the PCS matches will be broadcasted over on the Paladins Game Mixer channel every weekend. On Saturdays, you can watch the European matches for both Xbox and PS4. Then on Sundays, we will be broadcasting the North American matches for both consoles. All broadcasts start at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. If you want to participate in the PCS and be one of the names in our weekly broadcast, check out the Paladins World website for more information on how to sign up, as well as the full rule set for participating in the tournaments. We'd love to see you guys there. Don't forget to follow Paladins Pro on Twitter for more exciting updates on the PCS and other things coming for Paladins Esports in 2018. My name's been Pretty Hair. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
Welcome back then, champions of the realm, to this second semi-final set of the day. It is the Go4Paladins Europe Cup, number 37 for ESL Paladins, and I'm joined back again by a different voice. It is High-Res Vox and Unexceptional here on the metaphorical... I mean, I'm at a desk. I don't know about you, Unexceptional. Are you at a desk?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at my own desk.
Okay. So we're technically on the desk. It's desk connected by the internet, metaphorically through time and space or something like that. But back
on the desks.
I mean, I was casting off a dining room table actually about almost 2 years ago now. God, time has absolutely flown. But for the online qualifiers for DreamHack Summer last April, I was not last April, April 2016. I was actually casting off a dining room table because I just moved to Brighton. That was interesting. Anyway, we're rambling. Or at least I'm rambling, and I do a lot of that. I do enjoy it, and still doing it right now. It is the bracket on your screen right now, and Handsome Jacks took the 2-1 versus Ghostbusters in semi-final set number 1 to advance through. We're now looking at Ensuite, the all-French team here, versus Royal League. And just a clarification there, Royal League, I think, were the highest seed going into this one. So let's go ahead and take a look, Unexceptional, at the team breakdown, starting off with Royal League. And so far, they didn't have a bye in the first rounds. They did have that extra win in the best of 1 up through to the semi-final rounds. Their team is captained by King D Devil. There's actually a D missing from that by the looks of things. Uber Spady, Terminate, Smutney 1221, and Menschmeyer 360. And this is a fully European team, but let's talk about their path through the bracket so far. What kind of resistance did they encounter on their way through into today's semi-finals?
Well, they had to go up against Team Viral, who, as we saw in the January finals, is a powerhouse of a team. But they beat Team Viral to make it to the semis here today to go up against Ensuite.
And looking at the other side of things, Ensuite then, taking a look at their roster, this is the all-French team captained by JB Zaz, with Getver, Aquilon, Alix, and Wak coming in with a 2-0 tournament win record so far up into the semi-finals. What did they face through in the bracket on their journey here to the semi-finals?
The biggest victory was Planet Key Dynamics, who again, in January, some teams to all 3 games. I mean, this is not...
Yeah, it was
Planet Key Dynamics.
Planet Key Dynamics is one of the teams which we didn't actually see on broadcast, but checking through some of the chat loggers in the Discord server for the ESL Go4Paladins Go4 Cup, where we have some communication going on between players and admins, I saw people asking, "Where's our cup? Where's our cup? Where's our match?" And the admins are like, well, blame Planet Key Dynamics and Blazing Azars, because Blazing Azars, who took first place last week in the January finals overall, were pushed to all 3 games by Planet Key Dynamics. So these are both teams which have kind of come out of nowhere and been surprising in their success so far, and I can't wait to see if that does continue. With that in mind, Unexceptional, let's take a look at the map draft for today, and coming up in your screens right now, what's been banned, what is left on the table, where are we going to start things off?
Banned out first. It's not the ban you see most frequently. Most teams just sort of avoid it altogether. And Serpent Beach getting banned. Serpent Beach mines. I mean, we see this almost every set. Teams love Serpent Beach, so it's interesting to see it banned out. And Bright Marsh going to be our first map of the day.
And yeah, that is very strange. I feel like the Ice Mines ban there is really targeted. Maybe these 2 teams are scrim partners. Maybe they've heard something on the grapevine about, like, hey, watch out, Ensuite. They are in secret. They do have the secret strategy of Ice Mines. And that's often like the kind of 3rd and final map that we see these best of 3 sets go to. It's like, well, we're tied up 1-1. We're the lowest seeded team here. I don't think we can beat this team that we're facing on an even footing. So let's go on to Ice Mines and let's throw things to a 20-minute game, 3-3, and 1 ultimate decides the entire game. And that can be certainly interesting for some people at some point in time. But we're about ready for it, folks. Let's take a look at the map draft for today, starting off with Royal League having first pick, first ban. There are a lot of options on the table. You know, Unexceptional. Previously, we saw, first of all, it was the, the Makoa ban, the Cassie ban. This time around, okay, it's the Torvald which is being taken off the table first.
And that makes a lot of sense. Torvald right now is, I think, probably the 2nd strongest character in the game behind Makoa. Makoa still, banned every game. But when you ban Torvald first, you force the other team into Makoa, and then you get a free Cassie pick.
And then the Cassie comes through. Ash, though, has been taken up by Ensuite, so they're getting a little bit of a poke back on their side. We know that Ash has the ability to box with Cassie a little bit from mid-range, Bomb King being taken up too, so they're getting some space control, especially with that Royal Subjects Legendary on Bright Marsh. Royal League, they'll respond with, solid frontline. Literally, it's Inara, the Stagala.
What we saw last time, though, is you can't have Inara all alone. She really needs help making sure that she can get on the point and stay on. ML Damba is exactly what you want to pick into that Inara. Make sure you keep her healthy. She can just sit in that gourd heal.
That'll be so vital, as you can use Mending Spirits, maybe in your cast, you might be playing around the edge of the map. On Sled then, they've got a Fernando as their next pick coming through, and leaving the last pick open for maybe some counterplay if somebody goes into a specific flank. We have got Genos picked up now, so that's double frontline, single support Genos. I wonder if we'll see something like the Grover maybe with Efflorescence come out on this map. There's a lot of different questions here, and double support has been relatively popular. But it's double support going to the side of Royal League, so what do you think of this Grok pick combined with Inara on this map?
This draft so far for Bright Marsh, Grok, his heal becomes a lot more relevant in these tight areas because you almost can't miss it, and Inara can block hallways. Buck, once you're out of the buildings, is one of the strongest frontliners because there's so many walls he can just jump over and surprise your backline with. I love Royal League's draft.
This is really good so far, but it is solo frontliner. Could be a little bit fragile, and maybe trying to counter that. Oh, it's a second strong damage dealer coming through for Onside. So they've got the Bomb King, they've got the Charlene last here. They've got a great deal of kind of bot potential on their team, going for the kills rather than the sustain, but Royal League might be able to beat them out. Unexceptional. Put this team in a vacuum, as you like to say. What are we looking at here? Who are you giving the edge to start things off?
League's draft a lot better for this map, but Onside does have, like you said, bot potential. If they catch any of these softer targets out of position, that target is dead, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
With that in mind, folks, we've got 2 minutes on the clock before we do start map number 1 of this second semi-final set. Let us know who you're rooting for in chat, and we'll see you back in game number 1 right after this break.
And we nail them all. I know you're the worrying kind. Is there any way? Or do you like not being found? In time the light will fade. Don't you know I worry about you all the time?
And here we go then, champions. Vox and Unexceptional back on the microphones for... Well, actually, I say back. It is for the first time today for this set between Royal League and Onsted here, the second semi-final set. Looking at this, we've got Royal League on the left, Onsted on the right. Unexceptional, what legendaries do you want to point out and do we want to look at to start things off?
I want to see what Wark is working with here on Genos. because it was the only healer. Yeah, Celestial Touch, that's what you want to see. You want to get that extra healing right away. Make sure your healing's a little bit more potent.
You know, I'm really surprised that we haven't been seeing kind of Luminary Janna still played right now, maybe in combination with a secondary support, and that's actually a treacherous ground in Nara by the looks of things. So going for the big cripple field, Akelon picks the first kill, but Smutny finds one, but no, Akelon on this Fernando going for a second one, stolen away by Aleeks, and Onside are rolling this game all of a sudden. They've got a lot of control of the map very quickly. Royal League are getting the respawns, but watch this. Terminate finds a double kill, and Royal League have backdoored point control.
Yeah, a really good play out of Royal League to make sure they get some of this point control going. And I love that treacherous ground pickup. Make sure you shut down Ash's mobility, as Fernando's going to die for trying to contest the point.
You know, we made the remark of saying that Inara needs a lot of support in being able to get into position on the objective, but now look at this. She's locking everybody else out. Down goes the Waters field. That blocks off so many players. Beautiful and pass as well. Make sure that Planted doesn't deal damage, and it's 66% to the blue team here. Oh, the Stone Spear finds JB Zaz as well. And even though Get Vera and Charlene from Ansred, they find the kills here. Aleeks looking to hammer that damage home. 72% for Royal League already. That's a really good point score.
Smutny just showed us a tutorial of how to make Inara incredibly impactful. And it's you shut down the mobility of 3 or 4 characters at once, block yourself off so they can't hurt you. And that's, I mean, 10 or 12 seconds that they just weren't on the point doing anything.
That's so important, because when you're not on the objective, you're not contesting, you're not able to stack up that score there. It's letting Royal League get to 99%, and a capture takes over because you haven't got the healing throughput to be able to contest this Inara, and that's so crucial right now. And, you know, Unexceptional, Smutny is an interesting player. Smutny was originally a PC player, but last year, during the Console Wars run-up to DreamHack Valencia, it's actually competing on a PS4 team, if I'm not mistaken, and really helped pioneer this treacherous ground Inara playstyle. So it's fascinating to see them coming back again, but as Dread Serpent gets thrown out, this Inara is moving forward to disrupt the enemy frontline, the enemy backline, absolutely everybody, and oh dear, Charlene might be run down here. They've got nowhere they can run because of the impasse.
What a good impasse wall! Despite getting void gripped into the sky, Smutny finds the kill, and that's what you want to see when you have your frontliners who can not only establish a frontline, but also disrupt the enemy team backline. You're living the dream.
Oh no, here comes the engagement. Buck dives on in. Buck Wild has been activated by Terminate. No kills picked up. Get Bear does actually get the kill there, but Uber Spady was able to at least sustain for a little while coming through, thanks to the fact that they did use that Tempest ultimate from Grok. Moving into the backline now, Onside trying to make the defense. Have got JB Zaz's Ash in the backline, poking out Menschmeyer, and if the Maldumba falls, as they're surely going to Akelon, picking up a 2k in a row there, this will buy a bit of breathing room, but Unexceptional looking at it. Got 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock. Payload's about 80% of the way through. This isn't good for Onside here.
Yeah, most importantly, Royal League has it almost through this choke point. Once you're really around that corner is when it becomes a lot more difficult to defend. So this is really relevant distance that they've gained at this point in their payload push.
Pushing forwards again now. King D Devil on the Cassie shuts down JB Zaz's Ash to start things off. Beautiful gourd positioning. Everybody on Royal League gets back to full. Smutny's moving in, drops the impasse, finds a second kill with King D Devil, lands down the treacherous ground and has their ultimate available. Get there, gets shut down, and oh my goodness, the kills just keep on rolling. I think 4 out of 5 then just went to King D Devil. This payload is rolling.
Seconds remaining.
King D Devil on Cassie is an unstoppable force right now, and Inara is an immovable object. Inara moves forward and just is living through 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 people attacking her.
And it's also
Money's looking so good right now.
I feel like the fact that Inara is running this Inara's running this treacherous ground, which makes Cassie hitting these long distance shots if Inara gets up in the face of them so much easier, because that mobility is reduced. It's not just the fact that Smutny's buying time, because Smutny could be burned quite easily by a Bomb King and a Charlene without Mother's Grace's damage reduction, but everybody on that team is like, oh dear, the Waters field is down, we've got to scatter, because otherwise King D Devil comes in and lands these shots home. Moving into round number 2, 2-0 up for Royal League. What are we noticing on screen in the way of items so far?
Instead of Onside, we have 4 level 2 cauterizes right now, so they're really focusing on making sure the healing coming out of Menschmeyer and Uber Spady is reduced, and I mean, that's a great idea. You can't just have them free healing, especially when you have a slightly more vulnerable Inara.
It's really important. Dread Serpent, though, gets thrown up by Royal League. No kills picked up so far. Look at Terminate's positioning, though. Final leaks already. Uber Spady with the Tempest cleans up another. That shot not available, but that is a 2k for Terminate, and that is a a team wipe in about as fast as I think we've seen it today. Onslaught, they just disappeared in an instant. Royal League knocked them down.
We saw Genos trying to run, and I'm pretty sure everyone in chat knows that feeling when you're a support all by your lonesome getting chased by a flank with the helplessness that you feel, and we just saw it manifested right there as Genos had nowhere to go except in the ground.
Now, Royal League, they're 93%. Inara, Smutny forcing their way into the enemy base, throws out Seismic Crash, just buying time, and Smutny's staying alive with under a 200 health remaining. There we go. Bomb King gets the shutdown at last, but Bomb King's now being forced back into base to heal through that kind of fountain regen there. This is remarkable.
What Royal League is doing right now is look how far up King D Devil is, making sure that nobody gets out of this base on a horse, on a mount. And by doing this, they're getting a free push right now. They're already almost halfway there, and Alfred is struggling to move past the first set of buildings.
Well, they're going to maybe put up a bit more resistance as... Oh, well, the Bomb King ulted, and then Buck happened. And Terminate continues to happen, as that's a double kill in favor of this Buck so far. No, that's a triple kill coming through, diving on the Charlotte, and King D Devil steals it away, but Terminate picks up the quadra kill. Call this player a vacuum cleaner, only manufactured by Dyson, because they are cleaning up all over the map, and Assert Dominance is going to buy some time here, but that's unstoppable to Terminate. This game looks like it's already over unexceptional.
King D Devil stole a penta. We all saw it. That was amazing play coming out of Terminate, showing us why Buck is still an incredibly strong pick. The mobility, oh! Buck almost managing to survive in that moment, but not quite able to do so. Also, though, they are putting up a defense, but they have to hold on to this for over a minute, and it's only about a foot away. And
more importantly, they used Heat Haze and Assert Dominance to make that initial defense. You got to do that. You got to hold on. You're down 3 points. The conversion wins the game. But now you've just got Immortal, and now just coming up through time and space being available, Royal League have Tempest. Well, they had Tempest as Grok gets sent straight into the ocean there, or the pond by JB Zaz. And they've got 45 seconds left, so that's enough time for Grok to be back on the respawn. That's enough time for an engagement from 4 out of 5 ultimates here, and the only one that's missing is a passive ultimate, Scout.
Royal League are in a great position to push right now. Although it was only 30 seconds, Alfred is doing a great job not allowing them to move forward, and that's all you're doing at this point. You're buying time. You know, you're not even really defending as much as you're just trying to slow them down, but
you can't slow down the Cassie once you activate Scout. I mean, that's CC immunity. Ash has actually got Assert Dominance back up again, so once we're able to charge up some ultimates, that'll buy some time. Here comes Tempest, excuse me, from Uber Spady, making sure that everybody's healed up. Big stun from Seismic Crash could come through now. Smutny lands the hammer home, and this is looking like it's dangerous for the side of, oh no, Onswed. Royal League push it on through, and that does close things out with a 4-0 victory here in map number 1, Unexceptional.
A noble effort at the end there. It looked like they might be able to put something together, but League, I think they saw this matchup and they went, you know what, if you're going to try to hit us with all this pressure, we're just going to pressure you right back. They go with the aggressive Inara combination with Cassie, and it was just an overwhelming amount of damage and CC.
It's this triple threat kind of composition.
Just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's damage from a lot of different directions is what I'm picking up here. You got this Inara who's displacing you, which is difficult to deal with. You got Cassie coming from probably far away because she's got Just Breathe and wants to be hitting you with the max damage shots if she can. And then you've got Buck, who's coming around the backline going, you're a low health target that's slowed by a big waters field. That's 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kill, 4. Welcome to counting with Terminate. That's a free quadra kill. And all the while, Uber Spady as well. Not much of a name that we really talked about throughout the duration of that game. Healing stat at 16,000 is kind of where you'd expect it to be for a Grok. Maybe a little low as they weren't pocketing the Inara quite so much, but 60,000 damage exceeds everybody on the side of Onsred in this map number 1, and that's really impressive for me.
Spady on Grok just can never be counted out. Grok brings so much to the table, so versatile, and also importantly, so hard to kill. Only 3 deaths in that entire game for Uber Spady. Between the Ghost Walk and the healing, Grok is a nightmare to pin down without all the burst all at once.
Only 3 deaths, as I think you mentioned there. It's just, what do? Uber Spady stays alive and plays the objective, as does Menschmeyer with 184 seconds on it. And actually, Genos work, not able to even get onto the objective throughout that entire game. 0 seconds of objective time, just wasn't in the position. Normally we expect it like, alright, you send your front line out front, you get point control, the Genesis on the objective and Bright Marsh, and your damage is kind of around the peripheral, but this is a really, really tough game for Onslaught, and unfortunately it does get a little bit tougher from here, folks, as I have received word from our ESL Go4Paladins admins that due to an internet issue, we have been told that one of the players had an internet disconnect, or maybe some maintenance going on their wider ISP network from Onslaught, and was unable to actually field a full roster, the team was, for the second game of this series. As a result, they did take a map loss, and heading back to our bracket, we do see, a little anticlimactically, I think we can say quite safely, that Royal League take the 1-0 victory in this situation, and do advance to the bracket to face off against Handsome Jacks. And this is an unfortunate part of some online tournaments, folks. It can happen, it does happen, and ultimately these players are often held hostage with, say that in quotes, by what might be going on. Maybe it's a dodgy cable, maybe it's maintenance, maybe it's an ISP outage. From the UK, not mentioning any ISP names, not with the greatest one myself, have encountered that aplenty, so much sympathy to Onslaught, and we say GG's and hope that we'll see them back again next week for at least a full set in the semi-finals. Patrick, coming up next though, you're staying on mic with me. It's Handsome Jacks versus Royal League. Are you excited for these two teams?
I'm excited, Vox. Handsome Jacks came out and they got rolled game one, but they came back and went undefeated 8 points in a row to the Handsome Jacks, and we just saw Royal League go 4-0, and they looked dominant. I love their map pick. I love their champion draft, and I love how they employed it. I want to see how this boils down in the finals.
It's all looking janitorial here, folks, positively, as it has been sweeps across the board so far, and we'll see if that continues in the finals coming up next. But in the meantime, well, this isn't the only PC competition that we've got going on, and the Go4Paladins Europe Cup is great as a proving ground and training ground for a lot of teams. We've seen some PPL players come out of this cup and be very successful, going so far as to win lands as well in the Paladins Premier League now. But if you're interested in getting involved with some competitive play around the globe, let's check out the introduction video and the reintroduction video, I should say, to the Paladins Global Series for some information on how you can get involved all around the globe, play some competitive Paladins at the highest level of play.
Hey there, Paladins fans. My name is Gormizer, and I want to tell you we're almost ready to roll out the Paladins Global Series, so we thought we'd give you a quick look at what you can expect to see throughout 2018. This $350,000 tournament series is open to all Paladins PC players across the world, including North America, Europe, Brazil, Latin America, the Commonwealth of Independent States, Oceania, and Southeast Asia. It's the biggest open entry tournament series in history, and you and your team can be a part of it too. We'll be kicking things off on February 5th with the first phase of Season 2, where top-tier teams from all over the world will compete in weekly tournaments for crystal rewards and a chance at qualifying for live events with bigger prize pools. Each phase of the PGS will last for 4 weeks. In the first 3 weeks, teams will play best-of-3 matches in a single elimination bracket. The top 8 teams from these weekly tournaments will qualify for the phase finals in Week 4, where they'll play another single elimination bracket with crystal prizing up for grabs, as well as a little bit of cash. We'll be broadcasting all PGS matches on the official Paladins Global Series Facebook page, with one day dedicated to a specific region. Brazil is happening on Mondays, Europe on Tuesdays, CIS on Wednesdays, NA on Thursdays, and Latin America on Fridays. All broadcasts will start at 3 p.m. ET. If you want to participate in the PGS and be one of the names in our weekly broadcast, check out the Paladins World website for more information on how to sign up, as well as the full rule set for participating in the tournament. We'd love to see you there. As always, you can follow the Paladins Pro Twitter to make sure you're keeping updated on all of your Paladins Global Series, but until then, we'll see you next time.
Welcome back again then, champions, to this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, and we have seen one set of semi-finals go through. One set of semi-finals end a little bit prematurely, and now we're ready for the finals of Handsome Jacks versus Royal League. My name is, of course, Hi-Rez Vox. Still the mic from last set is unexceptional. Patrick, looking at this, we said last time, very excited to see how this is going to go down. It's been sweeps all across the board. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map draft to start things off in this final set. So, what's been taken away? What's available to play? Where are we going to start things off?
Ban's Frog Isle. I know a lot of these higher level players think of Frog Isle as being a little bit snowball. You know, once you win, you keep winning because there's no true choke point on it. And the second ban is going to be Serpent Beach again. People do not want to play Serpent Beach right now, and that's a really interesting ban again, because we almost always see Serpent Beach getting played because it's so neutral. It's
so popular. It's so sort of, as you said, I think neutral is really the right word there, because it's got high ground, it's got low ground, a little bit of verticality, it's got, you know, room for snipers, room for flanks, but that banned away, I don't know, maybe that's a targeted ban, maybe Royal League go. We know that Handsome Jacks is strong on this map, let's not give it to them. Handsome Jacks, though, they take the Stone Keep. This is quite interesting to me, because Handsome Jacks got rolled on Stone Keep, and this was actually their map pick in set number 1 versus their opposition there. So, what are your thoughts on going back to the map that you lost on? A wise move, or maybe something that might come to haunt them?
I mean, it takes some confidence, and we'll only know in the future whether or not it's a good choice, but usually I don't want to go back to where I got crushed in competitive play, so yeah, I think it's a risky move.
It takes some guts, shall we say, to be able to do that and to be able to come out unfazed. But, well, folks, it all does come down to Ultimate the Champion draft, and as we saw, the very first game on broadcast today, Torvald was the answer. I wonder if that'll make it through the draft this time, as it wasn't seen at all after that first game. So let's head straight on through to our Champion draft to have a look, and as we do get the Stone Keep map up, actually, rather than the Bright Marsh map up, exactly what the draft will be. So it's Royal League, they've got the first pick here. Jack's the first ban, taking things away to start off with. Royal League, they're banning His Majesty. This seems a bit unusual considering their namesake.
That's a good ban, because I think Bomb King, well, at least with Handsome Jacks, Bomb King is what beat the Handsome Jacks. So I think you ban Bomb King here because now you have Cassie or Torvald open. You're guaranteed to get one of them right now. Royal League gonna go with Cassie. Make sure you get that long range Just Breathe damage.
And Ash, and we'll have to see. I would suspect it to be, and it is in fact Torvald that is locked in for Handsome Jacks. So double frontline on very early, but these are two of the arguably most influential frontline picks in game currently, Patrick.
Yeah, we see why, too. Torvald can knock people off the point. Ash can exist on the point for 8 seconds without taking damage. You really have the best of both worlds when it comes to contesting the point. Royal League, though, gonna answer back with Buck and Maldamba. They're just gonna stick to damage here with Buck and make sure they pick up the most potent healer in the game, Maldamba.
And I feel like stripping the Maldamba in this situation is the right move. You're saying, I want to take this away from you. I don't want you to have the easy healing throughput onto two very difficult to deal with frontliners, especially as somebody's going to have to probably go into a Wrecker to be able to deal with this Torvald. So, in response, Genos is picked up by Handsome Jacks, leaving their last pick open. Got the Talus in here, though, for them, and that's something which we haven't seen at all so far through this tournament.
I like the Talus pick, because there are a lot of walls here that Talus is going to have no problem teleporting through, but more importantly, Buck and Maldamba do not do well against Talus if they get surprised. They just don't have the health to live getting chewed through, and that's what Talus brings to the table. Inara, though, tends to have the health.
Inara has also got the support here, Maldamba and Grok. That'll be a lot of sustain going on to Inara, potentially, on the objective. Handsome Jacks, they have one last pick to be able to finish this one off, and you know, they've got double frontline already. They've only got Talus's damage here. We're missing maybe like the Charlene, maybe a Leon, which we did see on this map as well. We haven't got a Bomb King available to us, so maybe even a Drogoz, as there isn't really very strong hit scan, although I guess you can consider Cassie good anti-air. I wonder what they'll end up taking, and okay, Handsome Jacks, they're going with the Pip here.
Damage, you know, myself included, I underestimate sometimes how much damage Pip does, but his gun, it does AoE damage. He throws the explosive flasks, and
I don't think you can underestimate
really needed
the slow.
that second healer. Yeah,
I feel like the slow
too.
is definitely going to combo well because it locks enemies down and makes sure that, you know, Talos can empty all of their abilities into them quite easily. With that in mind, Unexceptional, I'm ready for this first game. I hope you're ready too, and for everybody else in chat, let us know who you're rooting for. Royal League versus Handsome Jacks. Map number 1 of Stone Keep starts right after this break. Back to basics then, and back into gameplay, folks. My name is Hi-Res Vox, joined by Unexceptional here on Stone Keep for map number 1 of today's ESL Go4 Cup's Grand Finals between Royal League and Handsome Jacks. Unexceptional, looking at these teams, it's Royal League on the left, Handsome Jacks on the right. Itemization, a lot of cauterize for the side of Handsome Jacks, but any legendaries which are standing out to you? I know that Smutney's just swapped over to Treacherous Ground.
That was what I had to see Smutney's. That's a dangerous pick against a lot of crowd control, particularly coming out of Torvald and Ashe. That's risky.
Yeah, it is, and Smutney's going straight on in, getting a lot of healing throughput coming through. Vespady picks up first blood here. Surets, though, does answer back, but oh, Grok and the shock pulse damage could be huge here. Gonna knock everybody down low if it connects, and this is really good. Royal League are surging forwards on this objective so far, but they're starting to lose some health. They need to be careful. Pace on this pip is certainly chunking people down, and it's 36% for Royal League already. Handsome Jacks are looking for a way back in.
They're just answering pressure with pressure right now. Royal League is running in here unafraid to fight. Personally, I would not have been brave enough to not get CC immunity with Inara going into this team, but Royal League know what they want to do. They want to establish this high ground right away. They want to push back Handsome Jacks, and the only way to do that is by out-pressuring them.
Now Handsome Jacks, they have point control. 60% to Royal League, 39% on climbing, and unfortunately we're now seeing the deficit of the Inara right now, and it is the solo Inara. This is what really struggled early on, getting just onto the objective. Handsome Jacks starting to chip him out. Smutney is moving in, but oh no, the polymorph comes through. Is Smutney going to go down? No, doesn't die, but forced out of the area. Handsome Jacks, they're now at 72% on climbing, but that all was a little wasted, and oh no, now Cassia Hayes is looking for damage. King D Devil, can they find the last shot to close up the kill? No, and oh no, gets shut down by Joppy.
Came through there for the side of Handsome Jacks. It just looked like Royal League was not ready for how much healing Pip can bring to the table. Pip doesn't bring that slow sustained healing. He brings that big burst all at once healing, and Joppy already forced into the ultimate. Handsome Jacks look like they're going to capture this point.
And they get that at the end there. Just so much consistent damage coming out of Joppy. And Ash, despite, a lackluster performance, I think, in the first game on Stone Keep specifically, is doing such a good job right now at outputting consistent damage for Handsome Jax in these subsequent games. And now, forcing their way in, Stocks is moving in very far here on the Talus, gets the kill versus Uberspady. 2 minutes on the clock exactly, and Handsome Jax are just forcing all of Royal League back into base.
Really thrives in a 2-tank scenario. You don't want Ash to be your solo frontliner because you want Ash to be able to move around and deal damage. You don't want to have to, she doesn't want to have to be forced into that frontline position. And we're really seeing Ash at where Ash is comfortable with. Torvald making sure she always has the shield, she has the CC immunity.
And Pip certainly has the flanks as well. Pip is looking like a monster right now as Haste was able to go down and back up again using wall jumps and weightless for a little bit of mobility trickery. And look at that, that jump height exceeded. Oh, can't quite land the heal on Ash mid-air, but this is payload contested. So close to conversion. Buck gets shut down mid-air by Nina Sassler. The direct shots from Pip slamming through as well. And the contest is here, but Nina has found a double kill up to the high ground. Haste finds the explosive flash. There's polymorph available if they want it, but Smutney's 1v4 right now and just gets burned alive. Handsome Jax push it on through in 4 minutes and 10 seconds to go up 2-0 in this first map.
The streaks on the side of Handsome Jax. 14, 11, 10, 10. Not a lot of kills coming out of the side of Royal League. It looks like they're really having trouble dealing with the healing coming out of Hayes and Surretts. And
wow, this is big
more
as well.
Importantly,
King D-Devil.
More importantly, Hayes is...
I mean, let's talk about both, right? Hayes is 4-0 and 10 on the Pip. 14 streak, checking the damage charts currently, is sitting right at the top of them. King D-Devil, who on Brightmarsh we saw just go through like a hot knife through butter the enemy team, is sitting at 0-6 and 1. This Cassie is struggling, and Royal need to find a way to enable their damage carries. They want to find some success here. They've got tier 2 Cauterize online for 2 of their members, so that'll help keep them in contention, but let's look at the healing charts real fast and see that, well, Janus is currently leading, but I'm concerned that Royal League aren't going to be able to keep up for too long.
What we're seeing right now is the problem with the single support, with the single Inara frontline team comp, is that Inara doesn't bring a lot of pressure. You can kind of ignore Inara in these fights, and when you can ignore Inara, you can really target Cassie for free, you can target Buck for free, and we're seeing it. Joppy taking on the world right now.
And just has the Torvald shield, has the assert dominance. Plonking that down on the high ground, Smutney gets burst down by that cannon, tries to get out of danger, but no. Buck activates Buck Wild, but what's this? This is the turnaround as Stocks gets the cleanup following Evil Mojo from Haste, extending that streak to 16 eliminations in a row. Handsome Jax, 60% on the objective here, unexceptional, and they show no sign of slowing as nobody can make their way back to the objective. I'm not sure that Royal League can contest this one. Oh no, they've been slowed by Explosive Flask.
Pip has a button, and it just says no in capital letters, and that's his ultimate. Whatever you want to do, Pip says Evil Mojo, and he shuts it down. That's what we saw right there. Buck Wild, not on Pip's watch.
And just there as well, I can't believe that just happened. Going into contest, Royal League sends Smutney in to be able to use the Seismic Crash versus Torvald in Hyper Beam to shut it down. Smutney doesn't actually step onto the objective before using the ultimate, which locks them in place. Overtime ticks down. Free capture to Handsome Jax. That should have at least been contested by Royal League, and that is a disastrous position to be in, because that's a blow to morale, to say the least.
So hard when you know you were that close, just a toe further, and this is an overtime, and we have a whole different game on our hands. But instead, Stocks moving through, chewing up. This is what Talus loves to do, just deal that burst damage to people who aren't ready for Talus.
And really importantly as well, with the Thanks Grandpa Legendary on the side of Handsome Jax, this Talus isn't being impeded at all. Their movement is not being slowed by the Waters Field from Smutney. In fact, Smutney's the one in trouble right now, as out comes Evil Mojo. There's the damage. Uberspady does get the shutdown onto Stocks though, and Uberspady has a healing totem right down, trying to stay alive, but gets nullified, gets shut down. Joppy has the assert dominance ready, but they won't even need it right now, I don't think, as Cassie gets void gripped in midair and taken out by Stocks. There's the double kill to the Talus. There lands down the battle standard, saying, I assert my dominance Paladins. This is my objective, and even though the respawns are coming through, the knockback, Uber Spady's out of the area right now. Inara's going to go down as well. Smutney, can they hold on? Menschmeyer finds 2. Here's Torvald with the Hyper Beam as well. It's just King D Devil trying to hold on, but they roll away from the payload, and no, Baldama's fallen. Can they get back there in enough time? No, the backdoor comes through, and Haste as Pip slides that on in. Cheeky play coming through there, and Handsome Jacks take the 4-0 victory.
Yeah, you can't ignore the squirrel in your backline, I think is what Pip is. But when you're that close, again, you can't put a toe out of line, and we saw just a toe away. They were so close to their own payload, but they weren't actually close enough to contest it. Pip needed to be there for 1 second. Hayes did it, capped it. That's another 4-0 victory for Handsome Jacks. They don't know how to split these games up. It's 4-0 or 0-4 with these guys.
It was just, as well, just good positioning, really good team play throughout the duration of this game. And a shout out to Nina Sassler here. 5-1 and 19 on Torvald, 35,000 shielding in a pretty brief game. Their combination with Stocks was very deadly, I felt. Look at Stocks' slash line, 12, 5, and 15. Most of those kills, without a doubt, enabled by this thanks Grandpa Torvald, and the ability to kind of just make sure that Stocks could always transport back when they were in danger, or could run through Waters Field, could run through Net Shot even, with a 2,000 health shield on them that lasts, 4 or 5 seconds, and was an unstoppable force.
It's a beautiful combo, because there's nothing worse than a flanker that you can't stop from moving. Flankers want to be mobile, they want to get in, get out, deal their damage. But normally you think, okay, I can cripple them, I can stun them, I can slow them, I can do something to them. But with the Thanks Grandpa Legendary, there's nothing you're doing about Stocks. Stocks is going to go in, deal damage, Rune of Travel out of there, and now they're fine. They're free to restart and do it all over again, and that's what we saw. The engages over and over and over again.
There it is as well. Just pull that up on screen. It's Wind Dancer there for Torvald as well, where protection grants 20% movement speed to its target for 2 seconds. And looking at this as well, Antediluvian Eternal is in there for Stocks as well. Ancient Power, Guts, and I'm wondering if it's in here. There we go, Evanescent. So you've got double movement speed steroids in this combo. Stocks is like lightning with this combo. You can't slow the Talus down, literally, because of the CC immunity. And Talus is zooming. You gotta go fast. I expect this pickup to be more like a blue hedgehog than anything else, and we can't not talk about it, folks. Right at the end there as well. Haste on the Pip with 73,000 damage, the highest in game. Unexceptional. What do you do about that? That's a support champion.
I mean, Pip swings. Yeah, right. Pip and Grok fulfill similar roles to me, where they're kind of off healers and off DPS. They both can really bring that unexpected damage. You see the support in Pip and Grok, and you think, that's a support. I'm not that worried. Before you know it, you're getting hit with Explosive Blast. You're getting hit with in-hand after in-hand. But more importantly, you're getting hit with Evil Mojo, which sets your health at 1,500 no matter what. And when your health is 1,500, Talus has no problem chewing through you. Ashe has no problem chewing through you. Even Torvald is going to kill you.
And let's be honest here,
in a very short amount of time.
Blitz Upper is almost half your health whilst you're a chicken as well. All Stocks needs is maybe a second of tracking and you're dead. And folks, we talked about the scoreboard for long enough. We've definitely stated that Handsome Jacks had a dominant performance. Let's head on through to our map draft though and take a look at exactly where we're going for map number 2. Unexceptional, Handsome Jacks 4-0. The sweeps continue. Bright march to the next map up. Do you think we'll see the same old story?
Royal League, this is where Royal League won 4-0 against team name that
the one that we're scared of saying without, I think we need, I need to pull one of my colleagues in here. I have a French community manager, I have a French boss, I have a French boss's boss. There are quite a lot of native French speakers working here in the European office, and I need to get a pronunciation guide from them. And I actually need to start doing that more for some of these European names. As we actually saw doing the team breakdowns earlier, we got players from all around the European Union, and even some countries in the Commonwealth of Independent States coming in for the Go4Paladins Europe Cup. So, as always, if anybody is ever like, hey, my name is actually pronounced this way, please do reach out. We always want to learn, we always want to make sure that's good, but you're right, Royal League took a 4-0 on this map. They look very strong, and back on the Cassie, King D Devil had a much better game on this map than they've just had on Stonekeep, wouldn't you say?
It seems like Royal League really knows how to draft to this map. They seemed a little in over their heads on Stonekeep. I think the Inara Legendary was just absolutely the wrong call. When Inara is your only frontliner against a team with so much crowd control, you can't allow yourself to be crowd controlled. It looked real good for about the first 30 seconds of that match, and then it looked real bad.
And a lot of that comes down, once again, to thanks Grandpa. This time around, though, as we get into the champion draft for this map of Bright Marsh, Handsome Jacks, they have first pick, and with that in mind, let's see what they take off the table. You know, previously they took away Makoa. Bomb King was banned out as the first ban by Royal League, and Handsome Jacks, despite their success with Torvald, they stripped this one away.
Torvald is very powerful on Bright Marsh. I think Inara is probably the second best frontliner on Bright Marsh, but right now Torvald is so in the meta. Handsome Jacks, I don't think want what happened to them used against them again. They're going to go with Ashe as their first pick.
That could be potentially viable here and very, very strong, especially for controlling objectives with assert dominance, but Royal League, no hesitance at all. They lock in Cassie and Bomb King fast as lightning here, and that's a very strong damage combo. And I'm wondering how Handsome Jacks are going to put up a fight to that. You know, they've used the flank previously, but I'm not sure that Talus is going to be the answer fighting into enemies that can potentially, you know, like 2 or 3 shot him.
The Handsome Jack strategy seems like they're just going to live. Ashe, Inara, and Maldamba here. So difficult to try to break through that front line. Royal League responding with Fernando, but Fernando doesn't quite have that same staying power unless he's using his ultimate. And Royal League also going to make sure they get their first healer, which is going to be Grok.
This is interesting. So I like the fact that they're stripping Grok away from potentially the Inara combo and using it against Inara, which is quite strong, but this means it's likely going to be a Janos main support for Royal League, and that'll also mean that they only have solo frontline on a map like Bright Marsh. Now, they ran triple DPS previously. In fact, I think they ran a very similar composition to this, and I'll have to check that in just a second, but there is the concern that versus the double sticking power of Handsome Jack's comp so far, they might not be able to hold up, and that's a Drogo's last pick coming through for Handsome Jacks. That'll deal with the Fernando very easily whenever Immortal is not available.
Drogo's on Bright Marsh. There are a lot of walls that he can shoot over, but more importantly, there's a lot of really safe routes he can take during his ultimate where he doesn't just have to fly directly into combat. He can go through some buildings, he can get a little sneaky with it.
And there's not a lot of flank pressure as well. I think this is important on Royal League. You know, Handsome Jacks taking the buck mean that they can't, even if they wanted to, they couldn't last pick the buck because they need a main throughput support. But there's no buck to shut down Drogo's, which is arguably one of the best counterplays. You don't want to see Cassie flanking as she's going to get caught out by the Drogo's, by the Buck, and by the Inara and Ashe. She's going to get poked down to oblivion, and that's a tough order for Bomb King as well. I'm nervous about Royal League's draft. The damage dealers have to perform exceptionally. The supports have to be on point. Not a toe can be out of line for Royal League if they want to play this game well against Handsome Jacks, and this map, if Handsome Jacks take it, could decide not just the entire series, but this entire cup as well. We'll see you back again after the break to see how it all breaks down in map number 2, the grand finals this week. Hello and welcome back then, champions, to this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup between Handsome Jacks, currently up 1 game, and Royal League. And taking a look at the scoreboard, Handsome Jacks fighting out of the blue corner on the left, Royal League on the right. Unexceptional. We looking at any legendaries that you want to take a quick peek at all?
Haze on those Drogos.
Oh, that's a combustible. That's a lot of damage potentially coming through as well. And Terminate, though, with Totemic Ward, so that means that Haze won't be getting a knockback if people have the CC immunity, but at the same point in time, that's potentially bad, because you're getting, if you get a Masterful cooldown reset, you're getting double damage coming through. And that could be a serious issue. And Terminate's already starting to try and force people out. First blood, though, goes to Nina Sassler. And Royal League, despite the fact they've got this Grok, they're not going around the objective. Nino finds the kill. Handsome Jacks are stacking upwards of 50% on the objective right now, showing no sign of slowing. This is dangerous.
Handsome Jacks, especially with this combustible, are going to bring so much pressure to these tight areas, and that's going to be really difficult for Royal League to get through with their one frontliner. They're really relying on this one frontliner comp, and I just don't think it's going to be able to stand up to the healing and raw health that Handsome Jacks bring to the table.
All the straight up raw damage is taking a look at the charts right now. It's all about this Drogos in the air. Haze currently sitting at over 10,000, make that over 12,000, I'm sorry. One fire spit knocks it up by 2k immediately. Oh. And the combustible spits and explosions doing a lot of work of disruption on this map. 2 minutes on the clock, the payload rolling forwards without any sign of slowing here, and being bombarded left, right, and center. Handsome Jacks are in full control of this map so far. Can you see any way right now that Royal League can kind of re-establish a foothold here on Exceptional?
Need to kill Drogos. They need to get this damage off the table so that they are allowed to group for at least a small amount of time so they can put up a real fight. Drogos makes it so you can't even get close to your teammates, and that makes things real tricky when Grok is trying to beat them.
It's this such a good pick combo, right? You've got this composition that says, stack on me, I'm Grok, I've got a healing totem, I can make up for the lack of Genesis healing throughput, and Drogos goes, okay, free damage potential, I will take that, and Haze actually gets out of danger there. Around the corner for Maldama to start healing them back up again with very low health. Lands down the fire spit, doesn't actually connect, and with an assert dominance from Handsome Jacks not going the way that they wanted it to, Royal League have regained control of this objective with 1 minute and 9 seconds on this clock.
It's 95% of the way there already. Handsome Jacks are just applying pressure to all of Royal League's weak spots. Every time Fernando steps up to try to create a front line, which is what you want Fernando to do, they go around the side, they hit him in the back, they just shoot fire over his head, and there's nothing that shield can do.
Drogos is still on a 5-streak right now. Haste yet to die. Hasn't got a mid-round buy for items as a result of them. Looking at those on the screens, you can see they're still sitting on a rack of 1, but Dragon Punch comes in through. Immortal has been activated, tries to chase down Uber Spady midair. Oh my god, Haste gets out of danger. Fire spin into the air. Bomb King not knocked down to the low ground right now, but Haste, can they find the outbox right now? Maldama tries to heal them up. Bomb King gets the kill, but Nino's up on the high ground. The payload pushes through for free. Handsome Jacks roll through their opposition. It is 2-0 already in under 4 minutes. This is looking like it's over before it's already begun.
Didn't even need that kill on Uber Spady. All Haze needed to do was distract Uber Spady, was to force Uber Spady to engage. And in so doing, Uber Spady wasn't able to get on the point, wasn't able to contest, and wasn't even looking, because that's a great situation to throw a Poppy Bomb to get people off just for a second to try to reestablish your defense. But instead, Uber Spady spent the entire time trying to kill the Drogos, got the Drogos, but lost the point.
And I think you have to kill the Drogos, but you've got to do it fast this time around. It's looking down the barrel of a loaded, wrecked buck gun there on your screens, and Handsome Jacks are poised to take this map if they get another repeat of that capture objective. Royal League have got to put up a better fight. Once again, I'm looking at King D Devil to make the difference on Cassie. They showed how strong they were on Brightmarsh previously, and they've spotted out Buck. Heroic Leap comes through, but Nino's just got the damage. One more shot will do it. Oh no, Uber Spady tries to get the turnaround, but it just doesn't matter. Netshot is available. The recovery is here as well. Reloading, that'll reload Buck's weapon as well, and Nina Sassler is able to chase down Menschmeyer to be forced into a very unfavorable position. This is Handsome Jacks all over. Royal League can't hold a candle to them currently.
Confirm your kills. Buck not dying right there means Buck gets 2 more kills, but not just 2 more kills, 2 more staggered kills, making it that much more difficult for Royal League to mount a full team assault right now. And because of that, Handsome Jacks have already almost captured this point. Royal League struggling just to move forward.
Dragon Punch is available. 96%, all charged up. Haze is going to activate that. Out comes Tempest from Royal League, trying to stay alive. Dragon Punch, double kill from Haze connects. Out comes as well the Dread Serpent from Maldamba. Handsome Jack's trying to keep this dream alive, but a couple of members have gone down. It doesn't matter though. Nino Sassler is here, and Nino brings a lot of their own self-sustain on the objective. King D Devil trying to box out versus Stocks on the Inara currently, but Nina Sassler jumps up and over and ends their life. That's the objective capture coming through, and King D Devil was the last hope there. But you just can't do much in the face of that Mother's Grace Inara. It's too much damage reduction.
Bring up the damage charts real fast. I want to see how King D Devil's doing, because it doesn't look like King D Devil's having the impact that we're used to. 4th on the damage charts with Cassie. That's not what you want to see. If Cassie's not dealing damage, Cassie's not doing much.
And that's just because she's been poked out so much. You know, this buck from Nina Sassler, as we see Seismic Crash used and through time and space, not able to connect onto anybody. This buck is doing a lot of work of disruption in the backline. The net shot slows, cleaning up kills after, you know, Fire Spit comes on through, and it's just so effective right now. Disruption and also the damage potential as out comes Buck Wild. Haste lands the Fire Spit kill over the top on a Terminate. The Fire Spits, the salvo, they're going to rain on down. The Hellfire is here, but it's not enough to pick up the kills. And with 1 minute and 35 seconds left, Royal League seem to have stabilized this push a little.
Yeah, Royal League look like they're putting the pieces together, and they need this to happen now. They are 1 point away from losing this match, and King D Devil has to start dealing the damage. They need to be able to apply the pressure so that Handsome Jacks can't just go over Fernando's head and attack the back.
Well, Grox going to throw out Tempest to start things off. Oh no, Stocks solos Uber Spady. That's not a good situation at all. That's an Inara taking down a Bomb King. You're meant to be the demolition one there. And Royal League, they do get the kill onto Inara. They got a couple of kills on their side. King D Devils trying to regen out of combat. Could be poked out here if Nina Sassler finds them, but is able to hide just momentarily. And here comes Bomb King. Uber Spady is back, and this might be crux at holding down this game. Unexceptional. This is so close to being pushed through. Stocks is back on Inara. Everybody's getting poked low, and there isn't the healing throughput. How do Royal League stabilize here?
They need to pick off some of these damage dealers, and Uber Spady going to go in with the ultimate, trying to do exactly that.
They find one, but Uber Spady gets taken down by Stocks again. Terminate's trying to hold on, but oh my goodness, the cauterize is so much coming out of this team Handsome Jacks right now. Stocks' Inara is also sitting on Seismic Crash. This could be really, really big as the respawns are starting to come through. The impasse blocks out all of the anti-heal. Good Maldamba heal as well. The pocket is there. 10 seconds left until this payload push could be stalled out as overtime is remarkably close. Let's turn our attention once again to Nina Sassler, who's looking for a flank currently and finds Smutney around the corner. There's no frontliner left for Royal League, and that's the double kill. That's the triple kill. Can Smutney find the quadra? No, it's Nina who does, and Handsome Jacks, they close out victory for map number 2.
Handsome Jacks brought their brooms today, 4-0 again. Needs more frontline. That was the game in my mind. Smutney, one Fernando does not a frontline make. No one was safe on the entire team of Royal League, and we're seeing it in the damage. We're seeing it in the slash line. 16, 5, and 12. Nino Sassler, 8, 3, and 12. Haze. You can't let dealers just go to your back line and wreak havoc.
We're going to call that Nino's Spatula, serving up some hot kills there as well. Definitely MVP of that game for me with, as you said, the hot slash line, but the damage was brought by Haze. It was the coordination of Handsome Jacks, which I feel that helped really lead them towards victory. And looking on the other side of things, the solo frontline was an issue. As, you know, Smutney especially not as comfortable on the Fernando, I think, as they were in the Inara previously, but I'm looking towards Menschmeyer 360 again. I'm looking at the Genos and the healing stat. Just isn't there. Sure, people are being burst down so quickly, you haven't got the time to heal people up that rapidly, but I'm considering what the options are right now, and honestly, I feel like, you know, the Ceres with a Mortal Reach could have been more effective here. Even a Mega Potion Pip I would have rather had over this Genos in this situation, and this, I feel, really starts to show the turning point of support play in Paladins. We've seen Efflorescent Grover pick up today. Last week we saw Efflorescent Grover and Mega Potion Pip run by, the Mega Potion Pip being run by Slappy as well for Team Viral. And that combo out-healing, you know, the traditional throughput heals of Maldamba. I'm excited for where support play is going to go in Paladins, and I don't know about you on Exceptional, but I think that this really is that kind of turning point where we start to see diversity build.
It absolutely is, especially with these supports like Grover, like Pip, like Grok, where they can also deal a lot of damage. They really bring a presence to the fights, and we're not seeing that with Genos. Genos with 20,000 damage, you know, that's not impactful damage. Whereas Grok had, you know, with 13,000 less healing, but 32,000 more damage. So the numbers are there for these I'm going to say new school supports.
That just is a dangerous situation to be in, and we saw how it turned out. And with that in mind, folks, it is Handsome Jacks take your first place position overall in this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. They take the biggest piece of the cash prize pool this week. They also take 100 Go4 points to go into the February standings. And quick shout once again, the top 8 teams by cumulative points in the standings get invited to a bigger cash prize pool monthly finals at the end of the month. So if you're interested in getting involved with ESL Paladins, you've still got a chance to get yourself into that top 8 spot. Just visit play.eslgaming.com/paladins to be able to jump up, sign up, get involved. You can visit the Discord server, maybe find some teammates if you don't already, and make sure that you also look if you're interested in competitive play globally or on PS4 and Xbox One in North America and Europe for the Paladins Console Series and the Paladins Global Series restarting this coming week. First Cup, to my knowledge, kicks off on Sunday with the CIS region. I have to double check if there's anything happening just before then. Maybe something from, if I'm not mistaken, either SEA or LATAM. I'll double check the scheduling. But all the scheduling details are available on our YouTube video and also on paladinsworld.com. So make sure you check those out. Make sure you sign up, get involved. There is no better time to get involved in Paladins esports than now. And also, as I continue my list of things, Patrick, I don't actually have that in our run of show today, but I have a list of things. We also have a North American ESL Cup going on right now, and that is actually happening today on Friday. It's called the Bomb King Cup. It is a 5v5 Siege Cup, and it's something which we're really excited with ESL Paladins to be able to bring back, as we had some North American Cups a little while ago, and then they disappeared due to lack of interest, actually, for a while. And there's been enough kick from the community to say, like, no, we really want these back. We're going to sign up, we're going to compete, we're going to get involved. So we're happy to bring those back to you. Make sure that if you're from the North American region, this is what you've been asking for. You sign up, you turn up, you give it your best shot, earn yourself some crystals, and make sure you support your local grassroots esports scenes, as that's where the biggest things build. Of course, my name is Vox. I've been joined today by the lovely, unexceptional, and the absurd gamer earlier on for the first semi-final set of the day. We will bid you all a good evening, good night, or good morning, depending on where you are watching from the world. I think, Patrick, for you, it's actually still quite early in the morning, right?
It's about 9 in the morning.
That is far too early. I'm very sorry. Big shout out to Unexceptional and Absurd, who turn up, I think, at 6, 7 a.m. every morning to be able to get involved in this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. It's an absolute pleasure working with them, and it's really rewarding to see the incremental progress which these guys are making with commentary and the love for the game which really comes through with their casting as well. So make sure you check him out on social media as well. You can find Patrick at Unexceptional TV on Twitter, The Absurd Gamer at The Absurd Gamer on Twitter. 2 E's in the, as well, as I think the first handle was taken. That'll do it from us for the time being, though. Patrick, it has been an absolute pleasure. We will see you all back again next week. And don't forget to keep your eyes peeled for some, maybe some Paladins Battlegrounds action coming in the next few weeks. Keep your ear to the ground. Keep your eyes open. It'll be there. Don't check it out.
I was set to have the cable guy come out and upgrade my service.
Well, I know how that goes.
And they gave me a service block of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
That's ridiculous.
I know, it's like 9 to 5. I'd get enough of that from my boss.
Did you really say that to them?
Well, no, but I did leave them a 3 out of 5 on their customer satisfaction survey.
You are bad.
Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all. Well, why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, like used to do. No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me? Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all, but why didn't you